Hello, welcome to my presentation on Dziga Viertov's experimental film, Man with a Movie Camera. Today I will be discussing the style and meaning of the film, as well as looking at connections between Man with a Movie Camera and other modernist art. To start things off, Man with a Movie Camera, released in 1929, is an experimental silent documentary film directed by Dziga Viertov, filmed by his brother Mikhail Kaufman, and edited by his wife, Yelisaveta Svilova. The film was shot in various Ukrainian cities during the 1920s and depicts Soviet urban life. Viertov was hired by the Ukraine State Studio to create the film and later said in his manifesto of the same title that he was fighting for a, quote, decisive cleaning up of film language for its complete separation from the language of theater and literature, end quote. This is evident in Viertov's attempt at creating a new form of art through creating cinema that is not tied to narrative or literary structure. There is no dialogue, no structured plot, and no actors, only images that are deconstructed with the use of different camera techniques. Viertov presents a depiction of truth by way of his documentary-like film style. His aim was to provide the viewer with a visual of life as it is, which demonstrates his modernist style, the qualities of observation and insight into the world around us. Man with a Movie Camera is considered a Soviet montage because of its reliance on heavily editing its footage to create the final effect. The film's montage effect plays a large role in the aesthetics of catching life unaware, which is, as previously mentioned, a modernist quality. It is important to note Viertov's history of working at the Moscow Film Committee's newsreel section, as it provides some explanation as to Viertov's use of truth and documentation in real life in his film. Viertov uses a stop-motion sequence in the film where the camera moves around and takes on human characteristics. This blurring of lines between human and machine that Viertov included in the film alludes to a statement that Viertov wrote in Kino I, the writings of Dziga Viertov, quote, I, a machine, show you the world as only I can see it. Now and forever I free myself from human immobility, end quote. Viertov's statement relates to the modernist principle of creating something that is new and previously unseen. His claim that the machine is not only capable of doing anything a human can do, but can also perform tasks unachievable by humans, is demonstrated through the use of Soviet montage, in which certain shots and film clips are presented in a way the human eye would not be able to visually create. There are various themes throughout the film that meld together to represent life, such as birth, death, and work. Viertov presents these themes in a very realistic manner through his documentary style, which provides the viewer with a sense of witnessing an everyday natural occurrence, because that is essentially what it is. We see throughout the film different montages of people working, traveling through the city, a woman getting dressed, and a woman giving birth. The essence of the film is to not create a singular story through traditional cinematic techniques, but to present real life to those that are watching. Viertov approaches modernism by creating an interpretation of everyday life as it is, using unique camera and editing techniques to shape the way the viewer interprets the film and the world around them. The themes presented in this film are different from conventional cinema or literature, in the way that the themes are not based on the story, but rather on the actual creation and interpretation of the film itself. Viertov went to great lengths experimenting with different shots and editing techniques in order to create something that has never been seen before. It was Viertov's goal to test the abilities of what a camera can achieve and defy all aspects of film that had previously been done. It is clear when watching the film the camera is being used as both a machine used to achieve something beyond human ability, but that also exists as an extension of the human body used to depict the essence of humanity. The film also reveals the idea of how the structured society functions similarly to a mechanical device, a machine. This can be seen throughout different shots of people maneuvering their way around the city, everyone playing their part in the movement of a greater society. Vertov captures various small moments of the inner workings of society, showing how this so-called machine functions in everyday life. It balances in perfect unison, functioning seamlessly like a machine. Additionally, if we consider Vertov's criticisms of fiction and conventional cinema, we can begin to understand his choices and intentions of challenging these film narratives by creating his own version of the truth. It should be also noted the time in which this film was created, and the political influences that would be present because of it. Propaganda was common during the Lenin era, when Vladimir Lenin was the head of the Soviet Union. Man with a Movie Camera depicts the separation between the different social classes, the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, during this time. The film demonstrates the juxtaposition between work and recreation through montages of people doing labor work, followed by people relaxing or doing recreational activities. Lenin's ideology proposed the establishment of the dictatorship of the proletariat, which was based on the Marxist concept of dictatorship, in which an entire societal class holds political and economic control. This gives power to the proletariat, which supports communist principles. The support of the proletariat is evident in this film through the presentation of everyday life in Russia, which indicates possible political influence. Given that when the Bolsheviks took control after the Russian Civil War and promised a workers' revolution that would destroy capitalism and create a utopia ruled by the Communist Party of the USSR, there was a certain level of nationalism that was required from citizens. This is where Man with a Movie Camera would be advantageous to the Communist Party, by ways of inspiring workers. It is an extremely interesting concept of considering the abilities of machines to perform what humans cannot. The technological revolution opened the doors to previously unimaginable advancements and the creation of a great number of things. Regarding art, the camera was invented, which allowed for the creation of photography and cinema, as well as the ability for humans to create experiences that are otherwise naturally impossible. As I spoke earlier about Vertov's use of the camera and it being an extension of the human body, this can be further seen in Edward Muybridge's The Horse in Motion. In 1878, Muybridge employed the camera to explain the movement of a horse's gallop that could not be explained by the human eye. This breakthrough in technology demonstrates the collaboration between human spirit and machinery capabilities. When we discuss the camera as an extension of a human body, we speak of the new human sense that has been created to aid our existence and development as humans. What we cannot do in our own natural bodies, we create machines to do it for us. The concept of aura and its deterioration due to machine-based reproduction is something that Vertov aimed to prevent. He is not recreating anything or trying to create something that does not exist. He presents all that is true to him and creates a story based on his idea of that truth. He presents all the qualities of aura, uniqueness, particularity, authenticity, originality, and more. Despite Vertov's use of film, which is arguably one of the most easily reproduced art forms, he managed to create a film that exists with meaning no matter the time and place in which it is being watched. Part of this is due to its documentary-style filming and its groundbreaking editing techniques. However, it is the fact that Vertov set out to present life in and of itself that will help this film stand the test of time. Man with a Movie Camera is ranked as the 8th greatest film of all time by the British Film Institute, and has inspired many filmmakers through the years. There are various effects that Dziga Vertov pioneered that have led to iconic and memorable film effects in modern day. Vertov was one of the first filmmakers to experiment with manipulating frame rates, specifically dealing with slow motion, which can be seen throughout the film. For example, When a woman is shown spinning and about to throw a discus, she is put into slow motion just before throwing it. Viertov also experimented with stop motion, which I mentioned earlier. Not only did Viertov use stop motion in Man with a Movie Camera, but he also directed the Soviet Union's first animated film called Soviet Toys, which happened to be stop motion as well. Viertov also used split screen and double exposure techniques, which can be seen in Darren Aronofsky's Requiem for a Dream and Christopher Nolan's Inception, respectively. Viertov's objective of truth influenced a French sub-movement called Cinéma Vérité, which translates to film truth. They focused on presenting people in everyday situations in a naturalistic form and were conscious of the filmmaker's presence, like Man with a Movie Camera. Man with a Movie Camera began as an experimental film, however it has become one of the most influential films in history. This concludes my presentation on Dziga Viertov's film, Man with a Movie Camera. Thank you for listening.